good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night, whatever it is to you. Hello, how are you? Welcome to Waking God's Child YouTube channel. I know it's been a while, but I am now here with my co-host, Candy Nelson, and we are wishing you all a lovely, lovely weekend coming up. With that said, Candy, how are you doing? And we haven't talked in a while because I was gone. So how's everything been going? And maybe I think everyone would like to hear how your whole weeks went as well.
Yeah, it's just been crazy busy. I find here lately, it's like since I've physically gotten better, as far as my symptoms, it's like I'm trying to like cram in things that I missed out on all those years. And I'm just constantly going and thinking and go and go and go. And I'm like, I think I like overdo myself. And now I'm getting to where I like almost need a nap every day.
I need a nap every 5 minutes.
Well, it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
like that
bet.
when I was sick. I was just too busy trying to fix myself, and
Yeah,
so I didn't sleep then. But now it's like, man, I'm just so tired.
yeah. I am physically exhausted
It might be the heat
a
too,
lot. The
because
heat, I was gonna say, I mean, I like we were just talking, your Florida heat with humidity level like it isn't here in South Texas is it's ungodly. You're suffocating when you walk outside. It's
yeah,
a battle. Like just trying to breathe, just trying to take in air that you need to live is a challenge and it is physically exhausting. So Oregon wasn't though. Oregon was freaking awesome. Beautiful weather. I could breathe the air. I walked out and I'm like, I just actually want to be outside. I'm not worried. You can dump a chemtrail on me right now. I don't care if you put those webs all over me. I can smell the pines. I'm smiling. I got my little grand monkey. I mean,
I
anything's
bet.
better than this hellhole here in Texas.
What was the temperature there?
It was like so there was days it probably reached like 100 maybe, but it was mainly like 80s, 90s. There was
So was
I
it up
think
in the
in
mountains?
Bend it was real hot. Bend, Oregon was hot, the high
What is,
desert.
was it in the city or was it in the country?
So Eugene is like a college town. That is actually so most people fly into Portland. I flew directly into Eugene, and that is east of Portland. But then my other daughter, my oldest daughter with my grand monkeys, lives in Bend. So Bend is the high desert, and that is another 2 hours kind of east and I guess northeast of there. So Eugene is 2 hours east of Portland, and then Bend, Oregon is like 2 hours east and a little north of Eugene. So the Willamette Forest is all through there, and I am getting ready to put out a video of all of the amazing things that I saw that really not much to do with Morgellons, but it has a lot to do with like the freaking lies because you can look at the mountains and hills and valleys and the rivers that we went tubing down and the waterfalls. You can clearly see that like they're not what they say they are. That's for a whole nother day in podcast. So that will be coming up. I'll probably post it tonight or tomorrow. But right now, we're here to focus on Morgellons, dying to live, which is
Yeah.
what we clearly should all be doing right now. We're just dying and fighting to live. So, Candy, you said it best a second ago. You know, a lot of people are living to die. Why not be dying to live? And that's what we should be doing. And with that, you have a story to tell. And something that I hear is really, really beautiful and emotionally moving. And I'm going to leave this to you and remove myself from this equation. So I think the whole world needs to be ears and eyes and listen and put your spirit and soul where it needs to be and hear her words because, wow, I mean, we've heard her stuff before, so I can't wait. All right, Candy, it is all you.
Okay, well, just give everybody a little background first. My sister-in-law has been trying to get us to come to her house for a cookout. Well, for years now, I've refused to go over there and be around them because, I felt so disrespected and alienated every time I try to go to a family reunion or anything. I refused to even go. And so they invited us for a cookout, and my husband kept saying, "Oh, come on, let's go." I'm like, "No, I don't want to go. No, I don't want to go." I was being stubborn about it for the longest time. And, I love my husband, so I wanted to be supportive of him. So I said to him, and more background on this situation too was one of my daughters had come at me here a while back, and so there was some issues with that where she and I had words, and we're doing much better now. But So I needed to, I'd made up my mind that I was going to write his sister a letter, let her know how I felt and what time of day it was. And I was going to give it to her and see her reaction before I agreed to go to the cookout. So I sat down, I wrote this letter, and afterwards, when I read it, I was like, no, this is not for her. This is for me. She,
Right.
she, she don't get to, you
Rain
know,
on your parade.
yeah. And so I said, no, I read it and I told my husband, I said, well, this is what's going to happen. I said, I'm going to go to this cookout. And I said, because, I worked so hard on changing things. I'm not the same person physically. So I don't want to be the same person, um, as far as socially. So, I'm going to go there and make every attempt to not allow them to shun me or alienate me. And if I get there and I make this every effort that I can, and I'm still not comfortable with how I'm being treated, basically, I'm going to leave you there and I'm going to go see my granddaughter. And when you get done, you can call me and I'll come get you. So I told
Right.
him that.
Amen.
And so, anyway, I went, I put my best foot forward, and everything seemed to be okay. And, you know, wasn't just like old times or anything, but it's like I didn't feel. I told him, I said, if they shun me or alienate me, it's going to be obvious on their part and not mine. So I was bound and determined. No, I'm not taking the fall for this.
Good for you.
Yeah. So anyway, I did it and I managed to get through it. But if I hadn't written this letter prior to, then I couldn't have did it. So I'm going to read it. I've
So
got
heavy.
several quotes in here that I've made up myself over the years. And one of my quotes was, I always ask, are you dying to live or are you living to die? So that's how we came up with the title tonight, Dying to Live. So anyway, this is the letter that I wrote. It's called Dying to Live. And I've got, the first quote is a Dylan Thomas quote. I, quote, do not go gentle into that good night, unquote, Dylan Thomas. After many decades of trauma due to child abuse, bad relationships as a result of, to being physically, spiritually, medically, and mentally tortured on a daily basis by a condition designed to destroy so many, known as Morgellons, I survived, with many of well-deserved accomplishments in my time capsule, because I did not choose any of those traumas. Rather, it was bestowed upon me for a greater purpose. In those struggles, I made many, quote, God promises, unquote. The very first promise was, is, and always will be. I promised God if He would guide me to heal myself because of the lack of medical care, I would do everything in my power to use those negative tools as weapons to release myself from that bondage because, quote, it is not my shame to carry, it is my shining, unquote. The only things that gave me strength, knowing that God would have never blessed me with such a wonderful husband that has managed to love me through it all unconditionally. I prayed for bravery first, and He delivered 1,000 times over. I knew God would never allow all these things to happen or manifest unless it had a greater purpose. I prayed again with my face in my hands, sobbing, and pled for guidance. He answered, quote, fight fire with fire, unquote, which slowly led me to physical healing with essential oils, plant-based medicine, and energy healing. During those years of discovery, I grasped my efforts to be positive in all the negativity. I lost myself until someone special, quote, enlightened me, unquote, to save me from myself. It was then I asked myself yet again, am I living to die or am I dying to live? I spent decades in fight mode, always seeking validation from everyone I encountered. While some knocked me down, my lack of fear I prayed for provided me with so many more wonderful and loving souls that I could have ever hoped or asked for that have lifted me up to much higher ground. I am grateful for the gift of God's courage. He has never forsaken me. Once enlightened, I began to understand why I was so shunned and dismissed. It's because my will to fight back has always been greater than my common sense. I make no apologies or ask for forgiveness for anything or expect none from anyone. I am now dying to live again and will choose my battlefields accordingly because I now understand, quote, for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, unquote. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Amen. That is it. Did you hear me? Lisa? Did I just read all that for nothing? Did anybody hear it? Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sorry. I was like, wow. Wow. That was, God. I mean,
I didn't know
I
if
had to
you heard
mute
it
myself
all.
because I was screwed up. So sorry.
Did you hear it all?
I heard every bit of it. And that was just like, wow. And the way that you just talked about how you had to heal yourself, you had to do your home remedies and look for, you had to find the beauty within yourself that you always knew was there because you're a fighter. I love that. I love that. People got to understand, like, that is why.
That's why I love that part where it said my will to fight back was stronger than my common
Yes,
sense.
this is what I'm always trying to tell others. You know, we say poor me, and we do. We say, and it sucks. Sorry, but what I want people to understand is like the devil works overtime on us because he knows our strength. So, in a sense, change your stars and look at it as if you are so strong that the devil is like literally trying so hard to deplete you and make you feel less and make you feel unwanted and unloved, which is part of this spiritual warfare that we are most certainly experiencing. And we all ask, right, why is nobody else having to go through this? How can the whole world not see what's going on? Like with the lesions and the scars, right? And physically with your pictures that you show, how can they not see? Because the Satan can blind all the eyes that he wants to, and he can, mute and deafen the ears, all of them that he wants to, easily. So you're not struggling alone. You are not anything but a warrior. And feel flattered. Satan's working overtime, Do you have that picture to show? I think
I'm trying to pull them up now.
the
My facial pictures.
Yeah, well, you know how, okay, I kind of showed some of how bad I was at one time, but I think the whole world, I remember like when I was sick, people look at me like, you're not sick, and I'm like, my face is swelled up, but that, how like, how can people not see this? But when you put it with a before and after,
Yeah.
that's us there. But when you put that with a before and after, like what you went through and what you are now and where you are arrived, it's amazing.
Look at that thing hanging out of my face.
I'm girl. I feel it because I live it, and it's just you're a 20+ year survivor of this, and I'm going to reiterate that word survivor because on top of put warrior survivor in place of all of it because look at that. Look at what you've achieved. What all of you, even though you may feel very ill right now and at your worst, you guys are battling this daily, but that right there, it's undeniable. It's undeniable. So when the world can't see this, I know so many of you are like, oh, my family's so bad. They don't believe me and they can see I'm sick. It's not just your family, guys. It's all of our families. It's all of the people around us. It's the world. And if you can't see it yet, this is Satan. This is how he works. And I can't say it enough. And your own truth. There's Candy right there. But I cannot say this enough. You guys have to understand that the world doesn't just wake up one day and turn against you. All of us at the same time, all of our families, all of the outside world, everybody, all the doctors, all the like, what are the odds of the entire world that has this suddenly Excuse me. It seems like every time we try to talk about this, we get attacked, like with coughing attacks every time. But you guys, I want you to understand this. I have so many people I talk to on a daily basis. They're like, I don't understand. My family's awful. They don't believe me. They don't this. Your family, our family, everyone's family. Like, it's not just your family. There's something bad off and bad wrong.
Like
And
this.
I all I can tell you is there's something wrong in the world. It's not just your family, because some of us came from great families. Some came from really crappy families before, but never, ever in a million years would they have done what they've done, right? But the thing is, we're making progress because Candy took her pictures and her beautiful poetry and her words of her life, words that she has lived through, and she reaches people. Like you said, the lady at the beauty shop, right? Or seamstress.
Jury shop. She had a jury shop.
There you go. So I guess that's what I'm getting at. There I am. Not really what I wanted to. Hold on. So what I'm getting at is people are listening. They're coming around. This is not forever like this. Just remember, the Bible specifically talks about in the end times, people will not be of sound mind. They will not listen to sound teaching, blah, 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 blah. It's not blah, blah. I just can't recite it all right now. So no disrespect, God. Sorry. Anyways, what I'm trying to say, though, is this is expected. This was expected. I mean, we're part of that very small handful that got selected for this horrible behavior from others, right?
Well, like I said, it was bestowed upon me. It was bestowed upon me for a greater purpose, you know?
Right. It's not a curse. It's not. We're dying to live, literally. I mean, and also living to be rebirthed, so to speak. But it's not a curse, because if given, the choice, do I want to be like how the rest of the world has acted or treated, or where they are, just wrapped up in their worlds and what they're going to buy next, or where they're going to go, or what food, like one wonderful meal, or the dish, or the recipes, just Googling and looking and scrolling for things that don't matter. And all they have to do is just like, be still for a moment, listen to their heart, and find the message and the meaning of life. And yes, we all didn't discover it at the same time, but the thing is, we discovered enough that we would rather be this person, sick with lesions and afflicted to some respect for Lord knows what we don't deserve. Maybe we thought we did, but we don't. Nobody deserves this. But I'd still rather be this person than those people any day of the week. If you guys were given two choices, one in each hand, I want to type your messages in the comments, please. If you were given the choice to be sick like we are, sick, weak, emotionally unsupported, spiritually dying inside, but aware of your surroundings and what is going on, or to be like the latter, oblivious and knowing. I mean, they did say ignorance is bliss, but let me continue. Wrapped up in the world of things that do not matter, material things that you can touch with your hands, that you can't feel with your heart, you can't love with your being. I mean, which person do you want to be? Because it's what it boils down to, and I know my choice. I mean, it's plain and simple for me. I don't want to be oblivious. I don't want to be numb. I don't want to have material things that aren't going to give me crap at the end of the day. It's like, my car goes real fast, but I'm going to sew some logs. What do you want to call it? Yeah, something. Sew some logs. Man, what am I trying to say? Saw some logs. Saw some logs. There we go. Guys, I'm tired. I'm running off of no sleep, literally.
Okay, so this comment, I'm going to call this guy RB because I'm not like talking about that last name. Yeah. RB, he says, "You poor thing. What happened? Some piece of shit do this to you?"
No.
No.
Thank you. Go to the whole channel. Go through all the podcasts.
Right. So, you missed the first part. So, if you go back and you watch the rest of it later, the earlier part, you'll understand. But
there's a world going on around you, RV, because that's what we're calling you, that your government, your world government, your people around you do not want you to know about, but they do know about this, but they do not want to admit this is for entertainment purposes only. I have to say that. Sorry, guys, but I do, because I'm saying some things that with an AI involved, and you got your algorithm. I've been taken down. I've had many videos taken down, so I have to choose my words very carefully. But your world,
And we try to do this podcast. We try to do it every Friday night, and it's about Morgellons May.
I'll just say it, Morgellons disease, because you know what? You can't take the truth out of a word that I just said. Like, I didn't say anything about it other than Morgellons disease. And I don't know necessarily that's a disease, but it is real. Don't go asking, like, fact checkers or like, hey, is this like, oh yeah, let me rely on AI to tell me the truth. Or
Wikipedia.
I ask for every turn I take.
Or the tick-borne theory.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, if we're not awake to the lies that's all around us anyway, at all, to any one of them, I mean, come on. Like, I don't know what most of you feel when it comes to this, but if you think your governmental structure is here to make sure you thrive, survive, and just prosper, and some Georgia Guidestones that are no longer, but if you think that all of that doesn't mismatch together and go together and all have some involvement and meaning in what is truly going on, and that they care about you so much that they're going to give you a textbook with only what they researched and what they found, and you got to learn it, and you got to go to school, and you got to get that little up your sleever from the time you're an infant till whatever, and then you have to enter, or you'll go to jail, you'll lose your children, and blah blah blah. Like, you can't have your children because you didn't get them vaccinated, and and they got to be in school. So yeah, you're going to jail. We're going to take your kids, put them in foster care. We're going to let Billy Bob over here that did get his little vaccination. He's going to raise them for you with his brother Bob too. So it's Bob 1, Bob 2 going to raise your kids. I mean, if you really think that this system is straightforward and non-corrupt, you need to go back to Mars, because that's probably where it came from originally, because there's something wrong. Your government is not caring. They do not care. They'll be the first to knock on your door, but it's not going to really be for a well-person check. It's going to be for an audit, and like $20 that you didn't pay in 2007.
Well, I can tell you from my experience with the custody situation with my granddaughter, when they take your children, it is not because they're looking out for your children. It's all about the money. There's money involved.
All about the money. Yeah.
And they don't tell you
thank
about
you.
that.
That was my next thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a whole nother podcast, because I got all
day long, and that is true. What she said is true. Now, I will say, I see the people that really should not probably have their children that are being molested and brutally beaten. They still have theirs because they're complying citizens. They still have theirs. They're probably not going to get bothered. Not this week, not next week, not next year. But the ones that are loving moms like me, because I was sick with Morgellons disease and I was telling the truth, get a little knock on my door, and they're like, oh, we're going to kind of have to question your daughter. Teach her all about sex at the ripe old age of 7, 8, or 9. I think 7 first time, 9, 11. Oh, I could go on. We're going to have to teach her what the boy doll does and the girl doll does. Where's their private parts? I mean, the child played with dogs still, for God's sakes. And you're going to ask them how they have sex and if anyone touched the hair on that private part, all because your mom is sick and went to the doctor and said, look, there's something very strange going on with my body. I have these strange fibers. They're physically moving. They're looking at you right in the face. Well, I don't see it physically moving. I'm like, I don't give a crap if it is a freaking Volkswagen Beetle sitting here in my arm looking at you, and it's not like making the bright lights and doing a lap dance in your lap. It doesn't have to move. The fact of the matter is, it shouldn't be there. When I'm talking a fiber, mycelium, whatever you want to call it, anything that shouldn't be there, okay? You guys have seen them show monsters within us or monsters inside us. I mean, it's very real. Well, this monster is a hell of a lot bigger than any. But the thing is, if they're going to take my child away or move away from my child, lock me up for 3 days, drug me till I'm completely incapacitated. I don't even know how I got their clothes on. Don't know how I went to the bathroom. If I went to the bathroom, did I poop my pants? How did I get here, right? And then on the 3rd day, as I suddenly, easing off the drugs there, And I'm opening my eyes and I squint and I see this guy in a white suit and he's like, you need to come with me. And I'm just like drooling and going through the floor there, practically dragged to the front. And the lady's like, you need to go through one more counseling. I'm like, one more? Like, when did I go through any? Like, what the heck are you talking about, right? But the thing is, they will take your child for just being sick. This is our loving government that wants the best for all of us and keep the population down to what just got blown up, guidestones. That's how much they care about us. They don't want to hear about any new disease. Oh, fibromyalgia? No, we don't believe in that. Okay, suddenly we do, right? Lyme disease? No, we don't believe in that. Oh, suddenly we do. Morgellons disease? Testing positive for Lyme disease and many other things. We don't believe in that. In fact, we're just going to take your child from you, call you crazy, say it's delusional parasitosis, even though we can see that, but it's not moving. And since it didn't do like a freaking moonwalk and Michael Jackson's Thriller all over it, it's not moving. We're just going to leave that there, call it good, and say you're delusional. You're delusional.
Well, and I have people ask me all the time, do you think the government will ever recognize this?
Yeah, they did it.
Not until it becomes profitable for them.
There you go. And it's not even necessarily that they know what's going on. And I don't care if you believe it's interdimensional, because there are lots of sides to this. There are. And I have to agree with some of the supernatural crap I've seen. Like my logic, because I went to that conditioning school that you all did too, that's not logically making sense how it could happen. So, I mean, I'm lost on that avenue. I don't even care. I don't have to know the truth. What I do know is somebody's lying and somebody did this, and our GOV, they freaking know. How could they not know? We're like hundreds and thousands worldwide saying the same thing, posting the same pictures, exact identical, none of us knowing another. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Yeah, and this tick-borne theory part is part of the cover-up. Mm-hmm. These are like, what they call it?
Like, who gave the tick that anyway?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's
the pathogen that they're saying that's
the type of people that do this is like disinformation agents.
Oh, well, yeah, that's literally our entire
from a tick bite. Because I mean, again, how can you take the DNA of any living organism and put it into the food supply and not expect other people's DNA to be affected?
Monsanto, ring a bell? Oh, well, that one flew at the time, didn't it?
Yeah, 2 + 2 does not equal 4 there, okay?
There's so much, and if people can go to the grocery store and say, oh, that said GMO. I know my ABCs. I can sing it up to that GMO. No, you're wrong. You need to question what's on your box. And I'm sorry, I'm not blaming you because you're wrong, because we have been conditioned to believe that nonsense. This is for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, I'm AI right there. We have been conditioned to believe what we've been given in a textbook, what we've been told with FDA recommendations. Like, if they can't tax it, they don't want you to know about it. Now, when it comes to Morgellons, I think there's some things going on up above, because they recently said, oh, well, we're not really necessarily giving you disclosure, but we're saying, yeah, there is. Like, make up your damn minds. Make up your damn minds, because if you're seeing something, then there you go. That's disclosure. I don't even know what you're, like, looking for. What are you waiting for? Christmas? Shit your pants? What? I mean, I'm seriously over it. I'm mad. I listen to your beautiful words and how much anguish you go through. We all go through. But you guys deserve the world. You deserve a purple heart, a real purple heart, not for going to war and destroying all the truth and the historical truth and just trying to get the assets from other countries to benefit you so that you can continually sell petroleum so that free energy cannot be had, even though it's there and available. I'm sorry that you were conditioned to, but you were. And it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. And I know book smart is book smart. I graduated in the top 10% National Honor Society. I was pretty dang smart, book smart, because I recognized, memorized, and learned the whole yada, dada, until one day I woke up, I got sick, and I realized the world's not listening. What's going on? This is too crazy to be real. Finding hundreds and thousands of others just like me, being treated the same, and thinking, wait a minute, they're lying about this. What else have they lied about? Come to find out, Well, Satan, he's been a busy little bee, and he presents himself as an angel of light. So don't forget that angel of light is the most deceiving of them all. And your GOB is ran by, well, how's that scripture go? Oh, yeah, Satan is the leader and the ruler and the principality of evil in the air. He is the king of this world, the greatest magician that ever lived here on earth. But your God's bigger. Your God's bigger, and he is a pussy. I'm sorry, but he is. Meow, kitty cat, whatever. I didn't mean ugly, what kind of. But he's going to lose. He's already lost. It's been written. So we are dying to live instead of living to die. The few of us that know, and that's why you guys are here. You know something's wrong and off in your world, and you can't quite put your finger on it. Stick around. You'll get there. I promise. And it's a real eye-opener whenever that awakening becomes into a full-fledged, like, what the crap was that nightmare all about?
I love that Wiki Morgpedia, where the definition of the silent superbug is WTF was that bug.
Exactly. I love that too. You know, we were talking about this earlier. We reserve the right to laugh. We have to laugh. We have to be able to laugh. That is part of that dying to live. We want to live. We have to find humor and happy, uplifting things in this dark moment. Because if we don't, that determines how we function and how we make it through what is coming and still to come. Because this is just the little, dawn before. What do you call it? The light before darkness. I'm at a loss for words, but I'm telling you, this is just the little beginning of something big and much harder coming. And your warriors got your full armor on. You got all the strength that God has already equipped you with, and it's in you. It's been there from day one. And trust me, he will not give you more than you can handle. I'm telling you, he will not.
And I am so super excited when that lady asked me about doing an interview with the newspaper and
I think that's awesome.
her church, and I was like, she's like, "Will you do it?" I was like, "Oh hell yeah, I'll do it." I was like, "I have no shame in this game,
I'm like, so happy. I mean, people need to hear.
Just fair warning. I was like, make sure you let that reporter know that it's like when she's gonna get the lowdown, and just be ready because I ain't holding nothing back.
I think that's the hardest part. Like what you just said, it's going to be long. People don't sit still and stand still and listen long enough for something that is super long and hard to explain and very, very graphic with so many avenues and elements that go with it. They get so impatient that they immediately like, yeah, she's crazy. She's crazy. Hey, you guys want to go bowling tonight and go ice skating something? I'll get a jiggy with it over at my house. Mikasa, yeah, some tequila, huh? Yeah, she's talking crazy bugs over there. We're not going to listen.
Yeah, and I told her too.
Or something. I don't know, but.
Yeah, I told her too. I said, if I do this at your church, I said, I'm letting you know right now, they have to have a way to put up the pictures and the videos. Because the pictures tell the story. There's no doubt about it,
You betcha. I mean, that's just it. If people only, like, if they would sit still long enough to listen to something real instead of something that's not truthful or lies or just short-lived or, brings little to no happiness. We're not trying to disappoint you, and we're not trying to instill fear into the world. We're trying to wake up the world because, well, number one, you weren't given a spirit of fear. You're stronger than you think. So get over that part. And number two, we're telling you the truth.
And we're not trying to leech your energy. We're trying to empower you.
Yeah. And let me tell you, there's some energy leeches that just literally can drain your energy. But even then, we still get back up. But I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I know how some of you are feeling. I know how much anguish goes with this. But I'm trying to tell you also how you present yourself to others like you or even the regular general public has an effect. It does. So to the general public, yes, they need to be aware, but some of us, and myself included, I think all of us at one time, we just blasted the public with like, this is what you're doing to me. I don't know how you can't say it. Like, We have to go about it and approach that in a different manner. To just force it down their throats and say, well, why don't you get it? Why don't you see it? Is not working. It obviously hasn't worked even once. And Candy's a 20-something year veteran at this. I'm 10 years ago on something in there. What I'm saying is that hasn't worked in the past. We need to slow and gently. But as far as each other, we cannot just say, I'm just so sad all the time. And now we do feel that way. And it's okay to lean on each other. You guys, you can't do it constantly because Satan thrives and feeds off of weakness and fear. He is just looking to turn that next corner to just get you down a little bit further, until your faith is planted in the ground and you don't want to get back up. That's what he does. So you have to change your words. Your words have frequencies and meanings, cymatics. Everything you speak that comes out in the flow, like I said bad words a second ago, so I'm pretty sure that was not very good for, the frequency that we should be on. But what I'm telling you is words of love, compassion, understanding, strength. Those words is what living actually is. I mean, our whole life is energy and frequency. We can we can live energy.
You really just don't have to be in fight mode all the time.
It's okay.
You choose your battlefields accordingly. Yeah. So if it's time to be with your family, then be with your family.
I just did it and I enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah. Don't.
I couldn't bring up anything about me, but
all this negative stuff through. I mean, use all that negativity as your weapons. Don't let those weapons. You don't go into your family with your armored for war. You just don't. Yeah.
Put the box gloves on, be like, who wants to fight? Actually, that would be good though. Just kidding. Kind of, there was truth in that. But truth be told, guys, what I've learned through this whole ordeal is that for the first time, I actually realized that it's okay to take a back seat. It's okay to not have to have the world understand. It's okay that you may not be included and you're discluded. It's okay that they reject you. You know why? Because that's when you become the most in touch with yourself, the most in love with yourself, the most understanding of yourself, and the most in tune with the God Almighty. Because, I mean, think about it. You're still here. You're still living, breathing. You didn't get there alone. I mean, let's all admit it. We're pretty dang strong, but we, in no way, shape, or form, could have climbed these mountains and went through these valleys and cliffs and tunnels and rivers of depth and came out still sick maybe, but understanding, loving, and kind, because that's what I see in all of you. I see people that emerge from the wounds and the lesions that might cover their surface. I see these beautiful blossoming flowers inside, and I just couldn't think of a better, more beautiful human being to know than you guys. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your strength. I want to thank you for your challenges and your tribulations, because look at you, you flourish. Candy Nelson, I'm almost specifically speaking to you 90% of that, because look at you. You are a beautiful flower in the morning that blossoms out and takes in the sun and smiles and is radiant, and you are forgiving and loving, and you went through not just the challenges of Morgellons disease or negativity from others or belittlement or shunning, or you have went through no abuse that anyone deserves to go through ever on any level, but you went through all of them, and look at what's emerged. The most beautiful rose in the garden. That's all I got to say. I'm proud of you. You don't talk negative. Very rarely have I ever heard you even say, man, this sucks. I think maybe one time, because your family can hurt you, right? Shoot, I say it every day, like, this sucks. You guys are assholes. Sorry for my French, but I'm speaking the words that I feel. And if we're going to be judging each other off of words that flowed from my mouth, because words are actually frequency, but if I think y'all are assholes and you're being assholes, I'm going to say you're being assholes. That's the exact frequency I meant. It's like, you're not nice. You're being hateful. You've been rude, disheartening, unkind, and all the other things. And that's an asshole. But then we have another one. It's not even the point, though. You guys understand, like, you think God's sitting here judging us on how we pour our heart out? No, he doesn't want me to call that, but he understands our pain, right? He understands our emotions, and he understands that words are frequencies. And I'm sorry, just because some jerk said, "Oh, an asshole, you beach," whatever, that's just some butthead that said that, and we don't know any other word to use than express what we need to express. And God's not sitting here. It's all in how you use, how it's intended, the intention. I intended that exactly like it was. But you guys get the gist. He's watching us for our hearts, our love, our caring ways. He's looking at his warriors, his Christians in full armor, and he's saying, first of all, you got to be still and know that I'm God. I mean, that is first and foremost. He reminds us of that, but we always think we got to take the bull by the horns, right? Got to have the answers now. We got to get there. We got to know why. Who's doing this? Why they do that? We don't have to know. We do not have to know. All we need to know is that we are loved, we are strong, we are warriors, and we are going to live with our Heavenly Father in the almighty high heaven that there is, and Satan will burn. And that's gratitude enough for me. Like, as long as he burns, I'm good.
Well, and like I told you a long time ago, when I stopped asking myself, why is this happening to me? Why me? And I started saying, well, why not me?
Yeah.
Exactly. Then you question, okay, well, it happened to me for a reason. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to sit here and whine about, what's going on with me, or am I going to change it and make something positive from it?
I've said that the whole time too. A few years back, as you all know, I do process serving and private detective. And a few years back, there was a woman. I would say she was probably she was obviously from the African continent. She had not lived here very long, and I had to serve her papers. They were losing their home. And you talk about the worst part of that job is that, but the best part of that job is it gives you the moment to tell them about God or pray with them or tell them how much they're loved, because somebody's going to do it, right? Somebody's going to do it. Might as well be you, that you can just be there for them and love them and give them hope. So this woman said, as tears were streaming down her face, and she was just shook. I mean, why wouldn't she be? She came to America. They think they're living, the happy American dream. And her husband gets sick and losing his job. This was before COVID. It's been a few years, but long story short, she looked at me and I said, "Can I pray with you?" I mean, I hugged her. I'm like, "I am sorry." And I was sick too, but I didn't tell her anything about my disease. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It wasn't my day to shine. It's like my day to just be there, what God wanted me to be for someone else and others. And we sat there for a while, and even though I knew I had lots of work to do and I probably wasn't going to get it done because it was like 9 o'clock by that time, you can't do that kind of work past a certain hour, but she looked at me and she's like, "You gave me hope today." Like earlier I was saying, and she said it with this beautiful, thick African accent, and it was just lovely. Just the words that were love-filled and warm. And as they flowed from her mouth, she said, "I was saying, why not me? The whole time I was saying, why not me?" So I'm trying to do her accent. Terrible at that. Doesn't matter. The thing is, then she turned around, she's like, "Today you made me realize that I ask now, my Heavenly Father, why not me? When someone else cannot handle, why not me?" And I started crying at that moment because she's right. And here I was struggling too, but I mean, why not me? When someone else that doesn't have the strength to carry the load, why not me? I got broad shoulders. I can. God equipped me with that. And it's not like others are, weaker and we're just more strong. We're just all built differently. And that was weird. Okay, that was really weird. Did you guys hear that? Well, Satan, not today either. We're all built differently, but some of us have our strengths in other areas. Find your strength, embrace it, live it, go with it, and don't let go. Don't let go.
And choose your battlefields accordingly. You don't always have to be in battle mode.
Always. Although I'd like to smack a few heads. I'm sorry, God. For real. And frequency. Yeah, that's not radiating good for me right now. But the battlefield is also built for love. It is. And love your neighbors as you love yourself. The wars that we've been going through for.
You ever see that post that said, can you love God and still want to slap somebody?
Would it be bad if I said yes? I'm just kidding. The truth is, though, we are human at the end of the day. No, we should not feel that way. It's hard. But just remember, he didn't never turn his back on us even once when we were at our worst, when we were like doing ugly things, saying ugly things, being sinners, because we're sinners. We were, and he knew that about us, but he never turned his back on us. So I'll be darned if I'm going to turn my back on him.
And
He's
again, I mean, we can pray about everything. I was not the brave person that I am now when I started all this. I prayed and I begged God, please give me courage, give me strength. I need courage to do this. And it was like once I started like living fearlessly and doing it and talking to the doctors, it was like now it just comes easy. I just do it.
You know what I noticed is that you say that? I know so many people with this disease that, or whatever it is, that never knew God before, never knew anything about him, or didn't believe, were non-believers, or just didn't care, didn't give it time. But you know what I've found in almost the entire Morgellons community? Every single one of them were saved by the grace of God and faith, and every one of them believers now, because I'll tell you what, when you've seen what hell looks like and you've looked a demon right in the face because of this disease, whether it's what's going on with your body or the supernatural part that seemingly goes with it, when you've seen that side of life, you have no other choices but to know that God is so real. Heaven is so real, and hell is waiting and would love to have you be in the attendance. So I think that's the one thing I can say. Praise God, because we're sick. We found Christ. Or I was raised in it. I've always believed, but not to the extent of like, I have the visual now. I don't just feel it here or what's been drilled into my head in a church building. Because by the way, I don't go to church buildings anymore. I think that's segregation all by itself, and a name and a label outside of who you are. And we are the body of Christ. We are the church. The world, this whole world, whether it be square, flat, SpongeBob, squishy britches, I don't even care. I don't care if it's round, circle, square, whatever. The thing is, this is the church. That is the church. And we are what is inside of it. And we are all one. And if we could just remember and realize that we were created by one, and how close we are, we're the same. We're all brothers and sisters in Christ. But without him, we are nothing. So keep that, hold on to it, never let go. So yeah, kind of that. Anything else you would add? I'm like marching in with my boxing gloves on. Now gloves came off, so we're good. But I guess with that said, Ben and Candy, you have nothing else to add either. I love you guys. I know Candy is like, she's an inspiration, and I just want you to always know that, Candy, like what you share, what you go through, what you've gone through, and who you are. You're a rose. You're a beautiful rose. And you're the little wolf in the pack that always knew better. And you grew up to be literally the most fascinating young woman that I could ever know. And I want to thank you for that. And all of you. Everyone better.
I'm granny age now.
What's that?
I said I'm granny age now.
Shoot, we're young pups, because like this is just this earthly thing. This is just a little percentage of it, not much. It doesn't even count really. We're eternal, guys. We're eternal, and we are internally beautiful. But it is a process. It's a process, Flowers grow from the dirt, right? We're all working on it, and we're gonna get there, and we'll blossom into what we were always supposed to be and meant to be, and who we are. So don't let Morgellons define you. Die to stay alive. Lose your old self. Find your new self on top of that. Whole different kind of meaning there. But the old selves don't matter. The old lives where we were like, oh, I was popular. I was homecoming queen. That's actually two of the truest things I could have said. To find myself alone and humbled. And I was still humble then, though, because I never fit in. I never understood even, like, I was just playing a part. I was playing a role. And I think most of you understand what I'm saying. You've done the same thing. Whatever part that you felt like you had to play, we were just playing along. And the true discovery of ourselves came later, came now. And I'm just glad it came, because this is the sickest I'd ever want to be. I guess that's the only way I can say it. I thank you for letting me be sick, because I've learned so much. I've come so far, and I've learned how to sympathize and empathize with others. And even if they're not going through the exact same thing, it makes you have compassion and understanding. And I've always had that, but it's so much deeper now. And I'm still learning and growing. We all are, but why stop now, right? We'll just take that little hardball that was been thrown at us, and we'll go play some, in the sand, whatever. We don't have to be like other people. We don't want to be like other people. We want to be loved, but just remember, you are loved. You are loved. Your creator never left you. He's carried you through every storm. Still carrying you now, and those footprints in the sand, I know you can't see them because you're being carried right now. I got my boxing gloves on. He's carrying those too. He's like, would you throw them down, please? But it doesn't matter what people think. All that matters is what you think of you. You got to love yourself. You got to start with yourself, love yourself, and know how worthy you are, because you are amazing warriors, all of you. Amazing. Look at you. I mean, you're amazing. Every day you wake up and you keep going. Like, that is a Purple Heart badge of honor right there, if I ever saw one. Not what we do in our government, how we send these young pups out to war. What you're doing now is worthy of the Purple Heart. Don't forget that.
And again, too, I mean, anybody that has this, if you think about it, how blessed are you to know what you have, other than having it and not know?
Well,
that is the
funny
worst.
thing is, there's a hitch to that, because we don't really know. But what we do know is that we're all the same in knowing what we know.
Right.
And we're not alone. So, right? I don't know if we really want to know the actual answer.
I'm just saying, I don't think I could have went through those symptoms like that and being treated the way I was. And
yeah,
my nurse hadn't
you were alone. And yes,
my nurse told me about Morgellons, but if she hadn't told me, I don't know how I would have handled going through all those.
Most of us are not blessed to have anyone tell us. Most of us, and I know I would say 90% out there that I've spoken with, we're not blessed to go to any medical facility, have anyone tell them, not their family members, not friends, not loved ones. Nobody told us. We had to dive in deep on the internet, like Google everything that we were seeing, like weird fibers, moving fibers, weird hairs, like, what do you call it, ropeworm, like everything, fungus, like weird things that happen in the body, living things that move inside the body. We're Googling everything. And then we all finally arrive at the one thing that leads to the right thing. And even that's a blessing, but man, like,
but we're blessed. We're blessed with the gift of knowledge.
Yes.
If you were doing this and you didn't have knowledge.
Yeah. I just think it's wonderful, though. Like, the Lord worked that out for us. If you think about it, like what we had to do to try to find the answers, He led us in the right direction, because like it popped up, and no matter how it arrived for us, He wasn't going to leave us hanging. He was like,
we found each other. And we found each other. So no matter what you're going through, at least you know that you're not alone. We're here. There's other people.
And I know that there's some people out here that have this, that don't speak out, that, are in the groups, but they never write or post or anything. And I understand that. There's a very private part sometimes to me. And then other times I'm just like, I don't care. But for the most part, I'm at that moment where I want to encourage you all. If you need to be silent about it, but just listen, just know you're loved. But I want to encourage you to speak out. Don't be afraid. You are something to be proud of. You are an amazing person. You do not need to be ashamed. You should not be shunned. And don't let them, because there's enough of us that will back you up. So, like, for instance, what happened to me, had I known then that I could have called some of you, I probably would have never been taken away, but it was early on. And so if that happens to any of you, get on here first thing, Facebook, and say, somebody help me. They're coming in. They're taking me, because there will be about 50 million of us standing down there at the front door. I'll drive through the night if I have to make sure that they know.
The more I spoke out about it, then the better I began understanding and feeling better about myself.
Yeah.
And understanding myself and finding my place when I stopped fearing what anybody thought, and then just started standing in my own truth. And I'm like, it just made a world of difference in what shaped me, where I am now,
You learned that the only thing that mattered was how you loved yourself.
Well, and it's like I said in the letter that I typed, if I hadn't have spoke out, even though I didn't get support from the people that I should have,
It's
if I hadn't spoke
emotional.
out to somebody, I wouldn't have got any support.
I have to say, the best healing, in my opinion, I had friends, family that always wanted to go see a psychiatrist. Like, that is another human with no different rocks than yours, some colored, some ugly, some misshapen, but they're carrying the same rocks with lives of their own at home that are not perfect. And you're going to them to seek advice from a book that they got from someone else to tell them what to say, or write it down. Vent your words. When they flow out on paper, they pour from your heart, and it is one of the best, I would say the very best form of therapy that I have
It's a
ever.
good purge. Yeah, it's a good purge. And
I mean,
like
it heals you. And
well, like I
Candy
was
said
saying
that
too,
long ago.
I was telling different people about Morgellons, people that don't have it, and I was thinking when I was writing that letter, I'm like, there was so many people. The very first time I said it to them, they were like, "I believe you." Those are the people, and
I'd have given anything to hear that from anyone.
But
Never
I mean,
heard
I'm
it
just
once.
saying, if I hadn't talked to 10,000 people,
Yeah.
then I wouldn't have got those 25 people.
And I
You know
want
what
to
I'm
say
saying?
with that, because I was just saying never happened to me. Sometimes you got to talk to 50,000 people. I just got through saying, well, it hasn't happened to me. I had one person listen. I talk to people every day, but sometimes there's no number amount. Just never stop talking, right, Candy? Because eventually somebody's going to hear you. Somebody's going to listen.
Well, what about your dermatologist? What about your dermatologist?
Yes, yes. Well, and I still don't know if he's all the way there yet, but it doesn't matter. A dent is a dent, and I kicked that dent in. I didn't have any insurance either. Just kidding. But I mean, it just takes baby, and back to the baby steps. Sometimes when we first get this, we're just fire away like all the weird things going on. People are like, man, you crazy. I mean, I look back now, I'm like, yeah, that would probably freak me out too, and I'd be thinking the person might be a little crazy too. But the thing is, my family should know I would not lie to them. I've never lied to them. I have no reason to lie. And why would I want to say something like this? I'm going to make up a lie if I really decide I want to lie one day and be like, so I'm going to be the next president of the United States. I mean, I'd do something like that. I wouldn't be like, I got these weird things coming out of my body where like, nobody's going to want to be with me. Nobody's going to make that up, what I'm getting at.
Well,
by
yeah.
the way, those that don't think they don't have it in theirs, well, they're fooling themselves.
I have so many people tell me how lucky I am because my primary doctor listens to me, my dermatologist, my eye doctor.
I love that.
Like, oh, you're just lucky. No, I had to kiss a lot of
when I
frogs
say
to
that,
get
though,
those
the
princes.
Texas mentality, the doctors here are not having it. But I think Florida and the way you've
That didn't
approached
come
them,
easy. No, that didn't come easy. I had to talk
no,
to
you
them.
like I said, the way you've approached them was amazing because you educated them, you set them down. You're like, this is how it's, and you did it in a way where you didn't fire away at them, And some of us are like, bam, 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 and the doctor's like, yep, take her away. But I think that had a lot to do with it. But I do know that I took your advice early on, and I tried to sit down with doctors, and I tried to. I'm not leaving until you listen, but listen to me and hear me out. And I had one doctor that felt like he was close. He was my primary care at the time. He ended up committing suicide like a couple of months later.
Wow.
So that kind of, that really hurt too, because I felt like I was making some leeway, and then he killed himself. And I thought, gosh, I don't want to even compare my problems because who knows what he was battling, there's people battling things all the time.
And like I said, the other primary doctor that I had, the one that he and I got into the face-to-face confrontation with.
I love that.
That wasn't easy for me to do that.
No, you stood your ground.
But, it was necessary. Yeah. And so then when I called back to get my follow-up appointment, they said, well, Miss Nelson, he doesn't want to see you anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, somebody needs to go over those reports.
I love that you did that.
Well, what ended up happening was I got the best doctor in the world that I had for 13 years. And then when I found out he was retiring, I was freaking out. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I made an appointment with him. I was like, you got to give me somebody that's open-minded. So, I mean, I was scared, but I was like, no, I can't be silent about this.
The girl's like 5 foot tall and bulletproof. Like, she's not going to take no.
And
I
he
love
told
it.
me the doctor's name, and so I made the appointment. And the very first appointment, I talked to him about Morgellons, just straight up, right out the damn
Right out the gate.
ballpark. And
Good.
it was like I was just so surprised at the end of the appointment. I was like, "So did I need to find another doctor?" He's like, "Nope, we're good. I'll see you in 6 months." I'm like,
That's awesome.
"Holy
Well, see,
crap!"
like I said, you're the one that taught me approach. I mean, it's like deep down inside, I knew it because I can typically present something, but this was a challenge of its own. And like, I'm like, this woman knows she's been at this a long while. And so presentation is everything. And even though maybe I still haven't got one doctor here, maybe a dermatologist, maybe, but that's not even the point. Perseverance is the point. Like she just said, like, look, I'm not giving up. I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go the next and the next until I. And guess what? It worked. So there's no time limit. Like she's been fighting for years trying to get doctors to listen, right? But she didn't give up. And I think that's the message here for all of us. Don't give up because there's eventually gonna be, like she said, someone's a godsend. She's got the best doctor ever now. So
Well,
never give up.
and again, I think I told you when they asked Ted Bundy, the serial killer, how'd you get all those women to go with you? He said, I just kept asking until somebody said yes.
Somebody said yes.
So
Yeah.
if Ted Bundy can do
Yep.
that, then
If he can do it, why can't we?
exactly.
Truth be told though, and this is a different note, I don't necessarily want to ever go to the doctor again. I feel like I don't trust them at all because of my experience. I know there's got to be good ones out there, but I know a lot of you have to have that white coat, phobia in you because when you've been mistreated by them, it is so hard to ever get that trust back. And then you look at the pills, they're always prescribing, but you can't take that, you can't have that, you be that home, we're gonna have ours and tax you on it, we're gonna sell it and make a little bit of bucks here. So yeah, I'm gonna prescribe you this one for this one, diarrhea for that one. Well, that one's for emotional pain. Oh, this one's for tongue swelling. Well, right, like 50 prescriptions by the time you walk out the door. And what have they done? They have got you literally addicted and dependent upon what's totally paying their salary. And
But
I
it's kind of funny because I tell them straight up when I first meet them, I just tell them, you know what, I have Dr. PTSD, so you're just going to have to bear with me here, okay?
I
I'll
just
just do
went the
it.
other day and my blood pressure number's always in the 200s because I freak out the second they put the cuff on, but it's always that high. I'm not a cookie cutter. But I tried telling them that. I'm like, I have white coat syndrome. Like, you don't understand. I have a CDL, and every time I'd ever have to go past my health thing, I would freak out. And it's like I have to take like 3 Valium just slow down just to have my CDL continue on. And they're just like, oh, no, let me just check. Okay, we'll wait 5 minutes. And they're like, in the meantime, they're digging in my ear canal because I can't hear out of it, causing me pain. I'm screaming. And they're like, okay, we'll take your blood pressure now. I'm like, well, that sounds like a great idea. Now that you've raised my blood pressure to an even more elevated level, while you were digging my ear, and you pulled out part of my brain, I'm fairly certain, and maybe even the other part of my eardrum that was on the other side. And now you want to take my blood pressure. And I'm sure it's going to be just low and average now because, yeah, that's how that works. that literally happened to me not even a month ago. Not even kidding. They're like, you need to be admitted right now. And then they ran an EKG. And they said my heart was all over the place and the irregular heartbeat. And I'm like, that's because of you. You did this to me. And they're like, well, you got to sign this before we can release you. You got to go straight to the ER. You need to be in the hospital. I'm like, no, not happening. I'm not going to see any more of your little white coats with your stupid little pins and your, fingers on the buttons trying to figure out which code. Not going to do it. So I had to sign it and leave. But by God, I was leaving and I was not going back. So that's why even now, that was just a month ago, I don't trust doctors. I won't go back to a doctor ever again. That's what it's done to me. I'm not saying you guys don't, because there are times you need a doctor, especially when your heart stops or something, guys. So I'm just saying my experience in Texas, hell no. I'm going to go to Candy's house and be like, can I see your doctor while I'm here? That'd be awesome.
I got to tell you something new that I'm trying to work on now. A face makeup for us with my son.
That would be awesome.
Well, my daughter's wedding is coming, and I don't want to go there looking like this, with all the scarring and everything. So
Beautiful.
I'm like, I'm using tea bags because tea bags
They're
draw
good
stuff
for
to the
that.
surface. Yeah, tea bags good for you. But I can't get the color right because when I put the tea bags in the coconut oil, it turned green. which green neutralizes red, so maybe that's not such a
There
bad
you go.
thing.
Maybe not.
But I want to try to figure out something to turn it more like a skin tone color too, along with the tea bags. So my friend Paul told me that Dollar Tree has a 16-ounce thing of ground clove for $1.25.
True story. Yeah.
So I went there today to try to get some
Wouldn't
in
that
one
green?
town.
So green would make that. That would. Man, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, they didn't have the clove, but I was thinking of adding a little of that ground clove to it to try to make it a little more skin tone-ish. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm going to use that or what I'm going to use, but it's going to be natural and it's going to be for face makeup.
Don't they make that? It's called something Marsala. It starts with a G. G Marsala. It's like almost the tone of your skin. I have to look for that because I was gonna make it. I was gonna make a chicken marsala actually tomorrow, and I'm just drawing a blank right now. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
I also
It
found some.
might be.
I found some ground cinnamon, so cinnamon is good for this too. So, well, maybe I can add a little powdered cinnamon in there too. Mix that up. We'll just have to
Yeah,
see.
depending on the skin coloring, but honestly, and if it helps anything, like obviously non-GMO and herbal is good for us. I mean, there's a reason for that. By the way, when I was in Oregon, I got a vitamin B12 injection because I got sick. I forgot to tell you in Bend. I don't know if it's the altitude or the allergies, but for 3 days I was stopped up. I couldn't breathe. I'm like, how do you get sick with Morgellons? Because think about this, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I hadn't had a cold or anything with Morgellons the entire time. Like, it's hard to get me sick.
Yeah.
I was sick as a dog there, but I was also spitting out all sorts of stuff from my skin there also, which was weird. I don't know if it was the altitude, but I got a B12 shot on the second, third day, and it really made me feel a lot better. So I am ordering my own injections. I'm going to Tractor Supply. I'm getting the B12 for the swine and do not try this at home. Do not do what I'm doing. It's me. And my ivermectin also through that because it actually helped me a lot. I think I recovered so much faster. But the fact that I was sick was almost a blessing, My body is spitting this stuff out right and left while I'm there.
So where do you give yourself the B12 injections?
What's that?
Where do you give yourself the B12 injections?
Oh, they just gave it right here in my arm. In fact, it's still a little sore because I got little 12-year-old boy arms, but they just gave it right there, and now I'm just going to get the little 1 milliliter little, I don't know what you call syringes. And they have it. I found it on Amazon. I'm like, I will be a cow or a swine for the day. Just give it to me. So, but you got to do it, obviously, weight accordingly. So we know that we're not the size of, cows or swine. So 1 milliliter dose for me per 120 pounds, I believe is what they say. I'm a little under that, but 1 milliliter dose is phenomenal. And I was hinting at this lady. I'm like, you get this at the Tractor Supply. She was laughing. She's like, no, but you can. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, if I wasn't so desperate right now, I wouldn't be paying you $50 to give me one in the arm. But I did. I was desperate because I wanted to enjoy my grandbabies and my children. And I did not want to be sick. But then again, I was like, I'm so glad I'm sick. I forgot what it felt like, like to be sick with a cold, I should say.
Yeah.
But, yep, I'm going to be trying me some new stuff, too. It was ground marsala. Ground marsala? Does that sound familiar?
Oh, Michelle X said
garam marsala.
You have to text that to me, but Michelle says try.
Garam, do you see the garam on there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is for butter chicken recipe. By the way, you guys need to try this. My daughter made it for me. I was like, dear golly, I need like the whole recipe and a crock pot just for myself. But that's where I saw the herb, and if you mix that with like coconut oil or something, that would probably make a very natural coloring.
But Michelle's saying that try mixing shea butter with some chili. Will make your cheeks and lips get a nice red color. Try cocoa to darken the tone.
Cocoa and garam masala is what I just said. Cocoa and granted, we might be stained for a while through trial and error, but it's okay. One of us will look like strawberry shortcake, maybe another one a Smurf, maybe another one a brownie, but We'll get
Hey,
it right. Just kidding.
did I,
She'll get it right.
did I give you any of that powdered wormwood that I had? Have I sent you any of
No,
that?
I would love, love, love. You've told me about that, and I was like, I would love to try
Well,
that.
I still got your package. I just need an address to mail it, so I will throw some of that wormwood in there too.
I so appreciate that because I was just thinking about the wormwood too the other day. I was like, I need to ask her about that again because what you told me and the stuff it does, I'm like, yeah, all about it. You guys need to check it out too, but I haven't had anything the girls made that's like not real helpful. It's all helpful. Like some of it.
Well, I didn't make this, so I didn't make it. I ordered it. I ordered like this bulk package, a pound of this powdered wormwood a long time ago.
Uh,
So
I can't wait to try it. But I can also tell you her eucalyptus soap and her charcoal soaps and all that stuff is amazing. Amazing, amazing. You're really crafty and really intelligent when it comes to that because, well, I guess you study your body enough. You know what the body needs. But you just really have a way with it. So you guys
hey,
should
it's like Jeff Foxworthy on steroids. It kind of comes to me in the night.
There it is. I love Jeff Foxworthy, by the way. He's gone.
It's a
That
gift. It
and
comes
the
to me in the
puppet
night.
guy. I like the puppet guy a lot too. Look at that jalapeno on a stick. That's what I like. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Love, love, love. And I will be back here Friday if they don't send me out of town again for work. And even if they do, come hell or high water, we will be back here Friday. Yeah. Just don't crucify me if something happens.
If you would, because I'm never sure when you're going to be home, text me your parents' address so I can mail that package there.
Yeah. It's well, that's the same one that I moved from a while back. Well, I'll tell you what, Candy. When you receive a package, maybe in the next day or two, if you look on there, you might see an address. So
your parents' address or yours?
It doesn't matter because I'll be here the next week or two. My daughter will be here no matter what.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like Shyla, she'll be here because she works here, lives here. I live here. I'm her mom, but that didn't make sense. But my job calls me away. But so no matter what, though, someone will be here. But we do have something coming. I just wanted to. I mean, don't miss it. It's a shooting star. So it's not a big deal, but it's like shooting star.
I'm glad I didn't send this yet because I forgot all about that wormwood.
And it rained while I was gone. I mean, not while I was gone. The day I got home, I was thinking, oh no, my mail's gonna be drenched. And they're like, no, it's been a dust bowl here. And then I get home and it pours rain. So I appreciate you just doing what you do and asking about the address. And you guys don't have to send anything over. I just love you guys just for being my friend and putting up with my annoying antics and the talking because I know a lot of people like leaving. I'm unsubscribing.
Morgy mouthed.
I don't know what to tell you because it is what it is, and I'm not going to apologize anymore because I am being the best version of me I can. I'm trying my hardest, and if that's the least of my concerns, the least of my concerns. The most concern I have is I care about others. I do for others. I would give them the shirts off my back, so I can't be that bad. Can't be that bad. I love everyone, and I would literally give you guys the shirt off my back. You want it? I'm just kidding. Not very clean right now. I've been moving some other stuff since I got home. So I got to go unload the freezer now, the freezer food, and put it in the freezer from a month worth from that house. So good times up in here.
All right.
My dogs are running. I've got my dog's neck over here now too. So, well, my new dog and my old dog, Cammy. All right. Nothing else? Anything else? You guys have anything to add? Do we have any?
Michelle's coming in at the very end when we're ending it. We've been out here for a while.
Oh, Michelle, I'm sorry. Hi, Michelle. Oh my goodness. I'm like googly eyes. I need my glasses. I can only see. I can't even make out the words on this. Sorry, guys.
Michelle X.
Yeah.
You know Michelle. She has her own YouTube thing.
So, okay, look at me. I'm like, what did we see here? What size are you? Can you wear a better shirt next time? Can I? I just got through working in the yard at my parents'. So do I not have? I'm covered like Candy is. Like we're wearing the same shirt. Like I'm completely covered. I mean, I could wear a better shirt, but I was out working all day and I ran straight here to do that. So
Your hair was hanging down earlier, and I was like, man, it looks like she's got no shirt on.
oh, maybe that's why. No, I mean, I'm completely,
Yeah, because it's gray.
just like Candy. I'm wearing the same shirt.
Well, like I said, your hair was over top, and
Yeah,
so it looked like you didn't have a shirt on at all.
yeah. I didn't even think about. I just came in from outside, and sorry, guys. I have a shirt on. I mean, that's still the least of my worries.
Oh, she said you said we could have your shirt.
Oh, well, you can have my shirt. You just don't want it because it's sweaty and filthy. But I mean, now that you say that, I was kind of looking. I'm like, I guess I could see where it looked like I wouldn't have a shirt, Candy.
I knew better. I was like, I know she's not doing this in the nude.
Are you kidding me? I'll barely put on a bathing suit in front of anyone. I am the most modest person in the world. I have to like get embarrassed for my daughter if she just walks by me in a bikini. I'm like, oh, cover up, honey.
Me too. You know what? In our 32 years of marriage, I think I've like went out twice in public showing my cleavage.
Yes, ma'am. Well, 15 years of marriage, I was married, and my husband saw me naked completely twice. That's how modest I am. So everyone's like, yep, definitely don't want to marry her. We're out. So, true story, though. I'm not here for the men. I'm here for my friends. So there you go. All right, guys. Love you, love you, love you. And we will be back Friday. And I'm going to make sure. Kenzie, now that I'm looking, I'm like, I see it now. Because, you know, I see it now. I'm like, huh.
Like I said, I had to look. I'm like, I know she's got clothes on.
Some women that do the newscast, I newscast.
The newscast.
Now I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
My
That's what you get for living next to a cemetery.
Those boxing gloves are back. So I'm going to go beat up a ghost or two. I don't believe in them, but I do believe in something weird going on all the time. So I don't know if it's nanotech coming together to create a little woozy thing, but I don't know. I think you heard that. Okay, I'm gonna go.
That's 3 times I heard that tonight.
Yeah, but I mean it though. All right, guys, love you. Bye. I gotta
everybody. See y'all next week.